listening to the sounds, or should I say the mentals, of a true MC, VMT. This is the Volo show. And I'm not trying to script these shows. What I'm trying to do is, give you the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of our culture, which we call hip hop. Listening to the Volo show, or viewing this on YouTube. Today's episode, we're calling it God Gives, Devils Deceive. And just like that, some people turn it off because they think I'm talking about religion today. And that's far from the case. I promised the last episode I was going to bring some science to the table, break down, help people with their scientific awareness. So, this is the Volo show, and like with all shows, I like to begin with. I got to start let me start my timer first, because I'm gonna time myself. All I'm asking for is 10 minutes of your time, so you can see the hands, and I'm gonna hit the timer right now. Give me 10 minutes of your time. I set the timer. I'm going to set that down. It should go off shortly. As we dive into the concepts of logic, which transforms into mathematics, which is the foundation of science. Like I said before, today's show, we call it God Gives, the Devils Deceive, and I'm going to sum that all up for you in how science relates to religion. And I'm trying to, I hate to mention politics, but how politics likes to be the schismatic to separate the two. So, as you can see the title screen, we talk about hip hop over here, which is, as I reiterate, an American culture created by the children of the 1960 Civil Rights Movement. But let's jump right into it. And we're going to start the day off with, I have it right here, definition. I got this definition right off of my iPhone. Anti. That's the new buzzword. You're anti this, you're anti that, you're anti-vax. You can see over here, anti-racist. Meaning is a preposition meaning opposed to, against. Adjective, opposed. Noun, a person opposed. As a prefix, is opposed, against. Preventing, relieving, okay, the opposite of, acting as a rival, unlike the conventional form. Yes, I have a problem with the definition. My problem with the definition is that we're using it as all these things, and we're having a problem understanding, like, within all this is the contradiction. Within all this is the contradiction. So I'm going to break it down, I'm going to slow it down, I'm going to pull out the chalkboard, and I'm going to slow it down, because we're going to talk about the opposite of. Being opposed to, against. In mathematics, we're gonna say the negation of. That's how we're gonna use anti. And hopefully that'll help you understand where the contradiction comes in as we proceed with these quick talks that I'm having. Let me pick up the pace. So right here is the chalkboard. This comes from Straight Logic, Introduction to Abstract Logic. And what we have right here, it says, if S is a sentence, then the sentence, not S, is called the negation of S, symbolized by the squiggly line, not S. All right? So the sentence we're going to use is S is science. S is equal to, is logically equivalent to science. So, of course, you have science and not science. Anti-science is what they like to use. Science, anti-science. So, if science, we're using what's called a negation table, is true, then anti-science, the negation of science, not science, is false. And vice versa. If science is false, then the negation of science, anti-science, not science, is true. It's as simple as that. Where we're getting into argument is in the definition of anti. Because anti could mean science is true and the negation of science is true. Like this. No, that's not how it works. This is what we define the negation of to be. Instead we have a lot of people going, this science is true and the negation of science is true. That's a contradiction by its form, by its logical form. Such an explanation is a contradiction. That's what we have going on over here with the racists and the anti-racists. We're arguing over a contradiction. It's easier to see when science is false and the negation of science is false. False and false. That's easy to see. True and true is harder to see, being a contradiction. I like to actually call it a true contradiction. I put it in quotes, just like I put the not S in quotes. Science being false, negation of science being false, that makes sense. And there's the 10 minutes, that fast. So I'm in this with that right there. That was it. That's how fast. Let's cut this for you. Oh no, that wasn't me. That's my son's thing. Okay, I got 3 more minutes. Irony is, with mathematics, these symbols are arbitrary. They can be elements, they can be members, they can be ideas within themselves. Here we set S equal to science. Politics comes along and says, this isn't true. This is Trump. Are you starting to see where I'm going with this? This F isn't false. It's Fauci. Now you look at the logic now politically, and this is why we're confused. Because we're talking about science and anti-science, the negation of science, not science, and we're arguing between Trump and Fauci. And Fauci is coming off as being the truth, the one that knows, you know what I mean? So it's here, he's science. Trump is anti-science. See how that goes? That's why it's illogical. It's illogical because Fauci could be false. He could be anti-science, but y'all don't even want to see it that way. or they don't want you to see it that way. Fauci can't be anti-science. They argue. Fauci says he's science. Fauci can be a drug dealer, in reality, a simple drug dealer promoting his drug. He could just be selling you know what I'm saying, his shot. That would actually put him here, right? That would actually put him here. But we don't want to see this. We see this because that's why he's not the president anymore. And then I'm under the red there. We'll talk more about that next time if you get mad at me because it's, Biden, you hate Biden. I was like, yeah, Biden is just a man. He's human. He can't stop nothing that God is doing. So the same thing about Trump. Just men, But we get more into that. This one here I clicked on. This is from Dark Horse. This is a YouTube page that I follow, and I clipped it just to say, because it's posing a contradiction. Are you racist or are you anti-racist? It's a contradiction. They both, but whatever. We'll try to explain. I'll try to break that down. And it's funny because that's what their explanation is. If you were to follow this YouTube page, is what their explanation is there's a third element, and in that third element, a person can not be racist as opposed to anti-racist. Anti's being consumed as being really an atheist, to be honest. I'm just using that as an example. An atheist isn't the Antichrist. The anti-racist would be considered the Antichrist. The Antichrist has nothing to do with, well, it has something to do with God given. But devils aren't on God's level. God gives, devils deceive. Russian. Not crazy about how the explanation went, but I'm gonna leave it at that. Thanks for giving me 10 minutes of your time. The other page I wanted to mention is Democracy Hanging by a Thread or White Unity. This is Professor Black Truth, another page that I follow. But once again, I love his page, I love his work, but it's a contradiction. We have to start understanding logic more so, and being able to, this is just the beginning. I just wanted to start here because I started with the negation, double negation, which you'll start here, the negation to take you here, the negation again to take you right back to here. That's the trick of the double negation. That's why I should say subtraction of a negative is logically equivalent to addition. Also try to help people understand, like I say, anti-racist, racist, not racist. You have to have that third element. That's why I hammer it home. I try to hammer it home. Religion, politics, science are three congruent angles in the same equilateral triangle. Ditto with truth, love, and courage. Ditto with knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Ditto with freedom, justice, and equality. And I'm gonna end it on that note. We'll be back. I'm gonna click on all these things again. We're gonna get back to Ron taking a God position over, the left and right wing, and we'll expound upon this right here. We'll talk about why these scientists are talking about that there, and how all these things relate. We might even go to deeper areas of creation. All right. So I'm gonna end it on that note. Thank you for your time. And I'm gonna end it with one. God, that is.